One. Welcome to season 4, episode 13 of the Film Bros Trip podcast. I am Tim. With me as a co-host Patrick. I need a computer.
I want room service.
I was worried you were gonna go with like my favorite line first, so I was like, I'm just gonna have to like forego the normal just to get it in there because I don't know what you're gonna do with the intro. So I was just like, I'm just gonna go for it.
You have favorite lines for this movie?
I love I Need a Computer. It is so like it is like quintessential to me, just Keanu just being freaking Keanu in the moment. And I love it. I wish there was more of it, to be honest, right? Because yeah, it's it is what it is. Let's just put it that way.
It is one great big pile of shit. I mean,
I mean, I warned you. I mean, I've seen this movie before, and so there
I gotta
is.
tell you, the dolphin wasn't so bad. I was really prepared for the dolphin. I had heard about
Yeah.
the dolphin. Like, it's fine. That dolphin doesn't bother me. There's just so many more problems with this movie. Just like,
Oh yeah.
no, why? What? No. What? Oh, come on.
I mean, I guess because you don't get the dolphin till the end of the movie,
Right.
that you're already so littered with what and what why and oh my god, to where you get to the dolphin, you're like, sure, yes, okay, like why not?
You know what? I was a Sequest fan, so
So you're
I
cool
am
with dolphins to
I
begin
am
with.
prepared for a very smart dolphin. Yeah.
Well, dolphins are smart, but yes, like I kind of I did one little reading. I guess this was like a short story or something.
Yeah, by William Gibson. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in that version, the dolphin's like addicted to drugs,
Nice.
and it's like part of the plot that he for to help get Jones's help, he's got to give the dolphin drugs because the government got him addicted to drugs or something for his, for doing what he did. So it's like, man, how more insane could we have gotten with this movie? I love it. I love how frustrated you are with this movie. I love it.
Okay.
Usually it's me that has to get animated like this and gets really frustrated and angry. So it was a pure joy to pick this movie because I knew what you were going to be like.
I had never seen it before. Like I said, I knew about the dolphin going in, so I'm like,
Yeah.
it's okay. I'll be all right. This movie can't hurt me. I was wrong. I was wrong. This, whew, this is
It's something else, right?
man. It feels long too. How long is it?
It's not long.
I,
That's a scary thing.
yeah,
But man, does it drag.
for an action movie. That is rough to do.
Bro,
Hour 36 minutes. God, it
there's
feels
not a
longer.
whole lot of action in here. And they ask even less of Keanu, who is an action star. Like he's like,
All right, so the guy who directed this thing originally wanted to make like a $1.5 million art film that was in black and white. He couldn't
okay.
sell that. So when
Shocker.
he got advised to turn into a $30 million action movie and got Keanu Reeves on board, and then it became, oh yeah, we'll fund that. But this guy's heart, first off, never done an action movie before, never done a movie before. This is, as far as I know, like this is it. Uh,
Yeah.
hold on, I, Robert Longo. I think this is the only thing he just did like music videos. So like he didn't know what he was doing as far as how to turn this into an action. He was an art house. He wanted to make artistic stories. And yeah, his heart's not in it. And it's very obvious because like it every time it's like, oh, well, this should be a good action scene. Nope.
Nope.
Okay then.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's screwing with me. Which if he was, then I appreciate that more. Hey, well, I
We
forget
haven't
what
even
we were talking
discussed
about.
what this movie is like about yet.
Johnny Mnemonic.
It's actually my pick.
It is
You want to do it for me instead?
no, oh man, it's almost someone trying to like a really stupider person, like much dumber person trying to ape David Lynch. Like there are David Lynch
Wow.
sensibilities, and like, well, that's a weird choice and stuff like that. But I'm like, but it's also a very stupid choice. It doesn't serve anything. Okay, all right.
I honestly I would have to
I don't mean in the weirdness. I'm sorry. I
right.
mean in the fact that like no one is acting like a human being should act.
Right.
And it's
I
all
guess I
just
know what you're talking
heightened to
about.
a point where I'm like, this is just a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like this at all.
Yeah. And I you know, I am a David Lynch hater. I like totally straight up am. I actually think you're doing him a little bit of disservice. And these I know you're not a hater, right?
Oh
Like
no,
I honestly I don't
no.
think
I
that's the
mean,
right way. Like I honestly think it's like I don't know. I think you're kind of on it, right? His heart wasn't in it, and like
yeah.
it's so not meshing in a way that it like that
No
it
one is meshing. No one is on the right page or the same page in
right.
this movie.
And I honestly think there's probably a way that this movie would have been fun.
Sure.
And I almost think like if you had gosh, man, I'm so bad with names sometimes off my head, and
You can give me a movie or
the Dawn of Dead remake and
oh
you know like gosh, he did all the bad DCU movies.
yeah. Okay. Um, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I should know this because I hate so much the defenders of him as much as I actually like him
Snyder,
at
Zack
Snyder.
Snyder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. I think he's good in his element, and I think he could have done something really fun with this kind of a movie.
You probably just would have ended up with Sucker Punch, but yeah.
Sure, but you know, at least I think that's more entertaining, to be honest, as a
Zack
movie.
Snyder, as much as I dislike a lot of things that he has done for a very long time, definitely would have made a better movie than this.
Right. And he can do I think again, he's in his element and what he's good at. I think there's good Zack Snyder movies that exist. I just
There
think he was
are.
awful with superhero movies because he didn't understand them. Or at
I
least
liked
the
this Watchmen
characters.
movie.
You liked what?
I liked this Watchmen.
I liked Watchmen and I liked 300.
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
the problem was DCU. He didn't understand those characters at all.
No.
But anyway, so like I think there would have been like an interesting thing here to do with this movie, but clearly the filmmaker was not wanting to do that version of the movie,
Yeah,
and it's all over the place because of that. And I think that's really what it is.
I
But
think so.
when I'm looking at the short story, it's a freaking bizarre short story to begin with, right? I mean, let alone like, I already talked about the dolphin needing drugs to get the dolphin to do what he wanted to do. It's like, whoa.
I'll be honest. I would have given this movie like 10 stars if it featured Keanu Reeves like shooting up heroin into a dolphin. Just like,
That, yeah, right.
yeah,
Oh
okay.
yeah. Like that would
All
have
right.
been
So let's
interesting. Yeah.
this has gone on too long already.
Sure.
What did we watch, Jim? We watched Johnny Mnemonic. What's it
We watched
about?
Johnny Mnemonic. So
Explain the plot.
we're in the year 2021. So that's
Degenerate.
already like great. This is awesome.
Another movie with really high hopes of what the internet was going to look like in the 21st century.
Yeah, but to be fair, it
Oh
seems
well.
like all of the 1990 movies, this is what the internet was. Like almost
It's,
every single
I thought it was going to be.
90s movie that featured the internet featured this like 3D kind of
We were literally going to be flying in cyberspace.
right. Like everybody's like spinning like cubes
Woo!
or pyramids and there's synapses going and that's like every single 90s movie that featured the internet did this.
Yeah.
It's insane. So it's not like you to me I feel like I can almost start to like stop hating on certain movies of that era because they were all doing it. They were
So
all doing it.
this is another you're giving Brett Leonard a pass for virtuosity and your beloved Lawnmower Man. That's what you tell me.
It's interesting. I think it's so funny that you went to those movies first because I thought you were gonna rake me over the coals first on hackers that I always defended too.
I don't even
Um
remember what the internet looked like for that movie. I
Same thing.
just
It's the
yeah,
same
okay.
stuff. It's the
I
exact
only saw
same
it once and I'm like, this
same
is
era, same nonsense internet stuff. Like it's the same thing. But again, I always defend. I saw in a certain era on the HBO run that I had a thing for that movie. But regardless, anyway, so internet is a muck, and the internet can't be trusted. And to relay information across distances, we cannot do it through the internet. We have to do it through mnemonic devices, which are people in this era. And so we have Johnny here who has removed a part of his long term memory to have an implant to retain information that is secret even to him so he can transport long distances, and he makes a lot of money off of this. Um, and the people who are profiting on all of this is the Yakuza and major corporations, and they're running the world basically. And
I
so
I love
Johnny
that we got the
has,
Yakuza into this. It's like,
of
yeah,
course,
this is just a beautiful thing. Kids, sit down. You might not know this, but in the 90s, we were scared of the Japanese.
I
We thought
was,
they were going to take
well,
over
not
the
just the
world.
90s. This was, yeah, late 80s kind of era too. It's
80s,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
Pacific Rim thing going
yeah.
on. Yeah.
The Rising Sun era. There were suddenly Sony boomboxes everywhere, and we're like, what happened?
The
Japanese cars? How
Casio
dare
watch
they? Yes.
yo no gung
Gung
ho, right?
ho. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I was actually literally trying to explain that to my students today. Like this was an era. Like you don't realize. It's like what?
We were
um,
both fascinated and scared
yeah.
of the Japanese to come get
Yep.
us.
And
Uh,
Singapore and the whole nine yards. And yeah. So anyway, so he is working for some unusual clients that he's not used to, and they way overload him. But he's trying to do it as one last job, as you get your stereotypical action thing, one last job to kind of get what he needs to do. And he gets messed over, and now he needs to basically get this out of his head, and he needs a computer.
needs it.
Yeah,
Gotta
that's
have
big.
it.
What?
Needs it. Gotta have it.
He just needs it.
Mm.
I love the
All right.
way he delivers that line. I really do.
All right. Well, as Tim said, our hero is Johnny, played
Johnny.
by Keanu Reeves. Johnny is a mnemonic courier and wants to retire. Getting
Yep.
the implants that made him a courier cost him all of his childhood memories, so he doesn't remember his last name or where he came from. Now he's touchy about any questions about his past. He finally saved enough money to have his implants removed, but bad news, the cost of the operation just miraculously went up, and he has to do one more big job.
Come on, Rafi.
I, I'll tell you what. I'm making fun of how uh, much they assumed of the internet in 2021.
Right.
Got to give him props for nailing that we'd be dealing with a deadly virus, and sometimes there would be assholes running around not wearing a mask while we're dealing with that, like Johnny
Sure.
in this movie. Uh,
Right.
I literally starts off like, well, hold on, I really should start off with this movie. Starts off with the longest scroll I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah,
Just
they have to do a lot of
absolutely
explaining.
absurd. I mean, I it reminded me of the meme like, I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you though, or sorry that happened. Because I'm reading this thing like, what? It just keeps on going, and there's like no narration like we have for Judge Dredd with James Earl Jones. Too cheap
Yeah.
for that. We just get like a red scroll with occasionally like highlighted white.
I wonder if that was the why Dredd did it. Is like, all right, this is a lot, and if we want to keep people entertained, let's bring in a voice, and that's why they met with that choice. Like,
I
makes
it
kind of sense to be
works for
honest.
me. It was the right choice. But yeah,
Good answer.
let me go over this like 10 paragraph scroll that we have here.
Oh, good Lord.
It's the second decade of the 21st century. Corporations rule. The world is threatened by a new plague, NAS, which took a while for me to hear someone say it out loud. It's calling it
Yeah.
NAS for like a while.
Yep.
Nerve attenuation syndrome. Fatal epidemic. It's literally just like 1 to 2 words, sometimes a half a sentence, and just like broken up that way. Its cause and cure unknown. The corporations are opposed by the Low-Techs, a resistance movement risen from the streets.
Yeah.
One of John Peters was part of them.
Newark.
You think Peters was there? From the streets.
It would be really great if it was.
Hackers, data pirates, guerrilla fighters in the info wars. The corporations defend themselves. They hired the Yakuza, the most powerful of all crime syndicates. We're still going, guys. It's still going. They sheath their data in black ice, lethal viruses waiting to burn the brains of intruders. But the Low-Techs waiting. Oh, I guess that's the computer viruses. The black ice lethal virus. Okay. I didn't realize that. I just like that's what they think a computer virus does. That's so all right. Anyway, but the Low-Techs wait in their strongholds in the old city cores, like rats in the walls of their world. And we're still going. We're still going. Stay with me. The most valuable information must sometimes be entrusted to mnemonic couriers, elite agents who smuggle data in wet wired brain implants. Whew.
Did you ever get the sense that Johnny was an elite agent?
Considering how much money he made, that's pretty much your only clue that he's very good at his job. Because he's
Yeah,
got
but
like over $800,000 in the bank account.
I feel like it just says that he makes a lot of money and he can get on a plane and go to a different location.
Well,
You know
he's
what I
he's,
mean?
he's nailing $10,000 hookers every night. So
Right, but like
my guy's making good money.
you think because he's not supposed to be aware, right? All the data is hidden from him, kind of deal, right? So I would assume he's supposed to
That's how he likes
keep
it.
he's supposed
It's
well,
safe for him
right,
that
and
way.
it makes sense, right? But you're supposed to keep care of this data on your travels. So I was expecting Johnny, at least on my first revisit, it bothered me even more on the second revisit. Like, why isn't he like better at action or combat or anything? Like, you would think that would be a more valuable asset to what he is, and he's
Well,
not. He ends up needing to employ someone else to help him do this. Like, he barely does anything.
he
Like, he's
handles himself. You know what though? She barely does anything, and he handles all the
I
action himself.
not really.
Really, I feel like he does.
If
Uh,
anything, he does stuff a little quickly and then he's like, come on, we need to go because she's getting too carried away with her action. Otherwise it's not really there. Like he's not much of a like if anything, he does a little detective work, he gets to be online a little bit, but he's not much of a like I don't understand why he's making the money he's making. Is kind of my
because he's
gist.
taking the risk. It's a
I
big
guess, but
risk.
that's it. But I mean, I would assume in this kind of environment that they're creating, he would be something more. I don't know.
Well, director wasn't into him being like an action hero. So
Yeah, for sure.
apparently, I think I remember reading that like Johnny's supposed to be more of a neb in the book, and that
Yeah.
like the bodyguard does handle all the action, and like the bodyguard was the main character in the short story,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Um, and it was a completely different character, also a woman, but like, I think they didn't own the rights to that character. She had already been sold off.
Hmm.
So yeah, Johnny is late to his appointment, but walks in and lifts his briefcase over his shoulder and says, "Double cheese, anchovies."
Yeah.
It's like a little joke. And he's like, "Oh, this isn't good. We're in trouble."
Yeah.
I laughed really loud early on too. We find out that Johnny just doubled his memory storage from 80 gigabytes to 160 gigabytes.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, and to be fair, I didn't. I had to look this up to double check. My PlayStation 5 has 825 gigabyte storage.
How are they supposed to know?
I'm just saying.
But you gotta love how he like even takes this giant thing out of his like sleeve or whatever to like check on his storage and try to make a little bit extra room. It's like, oh, good Lord.
Unfortunately for Johnny, the information he's about to download is over 320 gigabytes. Carrying beyond his capacity, he only has 2 to 3 days before he dies, and it may corrupt the data on top of it. Uh, to make matters worse, he only has 1/3 of the picture key that can unlock the information from his head. The Yakuza have a second, and the third picture has been completely destroyed. I was laughing after he gets the download. He starts doing Tai Chi in the bathroom to center himself because it's Keanu Reeves and he's into that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched it, but he directed a pretty good action movie called The Man of Tai Chi.
No, I
It was,
actually
it
don't
was
know it.
yeah, it was pretty good. He played the bad guy in it too, which is cool.
Huh.
Yeah, I like that movie. I'm a Keanu fan. We are Keanu defenders here. We are fans,
Yeah.
so I do not hold him in any way responsible for this piece of shit.
I yes, I agree with everything you said, but I understand some of the knocks on him as an actor, especially in his earlier days. I
Well,
I
yeah.
I get some of it, and I think this is one of those moments where you're like, this doesn't look good.
I wonder how much of this is direction because I'm reading something
Yeah,
like Keanu thought that he had to play the character robotic, and I'm
right.
like, no, there's nothing here to say that he should play that character
Yeah, and
robotic,
and again,
which he
there
only occasionally does.
occasionally, really
Yeah.
occasionally, I would agree with that. And again, there's moments of like, I love this. Like again, the I need a computer line is a lot of fun. his whole speech that you illuminated too, right? Where he wants a $10,000 a night hooker, right? And some room service, right? There are some moments of some like really awesome, just Keanu, just doing a good job with it. But there's so much the rest of it that you're like, what is going on here? This is rough.
Mm.
And so you might be right. It just might be again just issues of directing and writing that is like it just did a ginormous disservice to him in this movie.
Yeah.
But I get there's the aspects of this movie sometimes does make me think like this is why Keanu got a bad rap for a while
Well,
with stuff like
this
this.
started him on a string of flops, which did
Yeah.
not help matters either, because it went from this to like, I don't know, Walk in the Clouds and Chain Reaction,
Oh yeah, chain reaction.
Stealing Minnesota, all these movies like Bomb, Bomb, Bomb. Even Devil's Advocate, which you and I love, did not do
Bombed.
well.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't a. It made
It
it kind of
is
broke even.
weird, right? Because like he didn't want to do right because he didn't want to do a sequel to Speed, right? Speed was
Yeah.
this ginormous hit.
Instead, he followed it up with this.
Right? Yeah, and they did make a Speed sequel that he refused to be in, which was also awful. So it's like I don't know if there was a win-win in this situation for him. Um it just kind of went downhill so fast.
Mm.
Right. And
Well,
thank
luckily, The
God
Matrix
for,
happened.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God for the Matrix to kind of bring
Where
it
he was
back.
like the 10th choice to play Neo.
I know. And it's so insane because it's like, I honestly can't imagine anybody else in that role.
Mm.
Like, he so owned that role of Neo that it's like, I can't, like, Will Smith was an option, I
He
think.
was the first original choice. Yeah.
Can't imagine that.
Mm.
Right.
Mm.
Or I think it wasn't even Ewan McGregor an option, I think. Yeah. So like
Ewan
there's
McGregor
some
was also.
crazy options in that movie. And it's like, no, no, that's Keanu. Like Keanu and Neo, that's it. He's the one. No pun intended. Slightly pun intended.
Well, you have see, Johnny arrives in the free city of Newark. I'll get more into that one later. To deliver the data, and the robot passport control clears him, but warns him his implant is leaking. He's only got 24 hours left
Yeah,
to
he's
live.
got leakage
Yeah.
or
Occasionally,
seepage. I think they kept calling it seepage
either way, I don't care.
instead of leakage. Like it's like, all right, yeah, because you immediately think of like anal leakage when you say leakage. But yeah, seepage.
That's immediately what everyone thinks of. So occasionally Johnny gets these like seizures to give him like really bad headaches, and he passes out,
Yeah, very occasional.
and yeah, and gives him some kind of like overload of data. Johnny sees visions from his childhood for some reason.
It's the same one over and over again.
I really liked the first one since that gave Jane, his bodyguard, the time to wipe off the 20 pounds of bad makeup she had on so that Dina Meyer could look like Dina Meyer again. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got Johnny picking a lock. Where did you learn to do that? I used to have a summer job, breaking and entering.
Yeah, that was a weird one. But so you have that memory, I guess. That didn't that wasn't
I
punch
know.
for
It's like, all
what?
right.
Okay. I guess it led to a nice job as a
All
courier of data, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird.
right. So with Jane, he hooks up with her doctor friend Spider. And he says he can't get the info out of his head, but he can remove the implant, and Johnny will probably lose some fine motor function skills and not be able to remember anything for more than 3 minutes.
Yeah,
The
which is
alternative is
actually
death.
it's another moment I like of Keanu in the movie.
Johnny's like, no deal.
Yeah.
And then Spider tells him he's actually carrying around the cure for NAS.
Yeah.
So,
You've
Johnny,
basically been the chosen one here, Johnny. So
yeah,
save everybody else.
Johnny's upset all his life that he remembers anyway. He's only looked out for himself and stayed out of other people's way. Now all of a sudden he's been given the ability to save the world, and everyone is trying to kill him if he doesn't, if his head doesn't blow up first. And then this leads into like my favorite part of the movie is Keanu's little monologue on the
His
garbage
speech, yeah.
hill. Listen to me. You see that city over there? That's where I'm supposed to be. Not down here with the dogs and the garbage and last month's newspapers blowing back and forth. I've had it with them. I've had it with you. I've had it with all this. I want room service. I want club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want the 10,000 a night hooker. I want my shirts laundered.
You know what's amazing? Because apparently this is the moment where
I
they
loved it.
start to have a weird romance. Because at that moment, she seems to identify at some way with this. Because the next time they're kind of together, there's like a romantic thing all of a sudden that pops up.
Literally the very next scene. Yeah.
It's like what? There was something about that that was like, oh, Johnny. Like I, it's so
Well,
bizarre.
I don't know. My girl had a lot of adrenaline. She was hot to trot, and he looked like Keanu Reeves, so made sense to me.
Sure.
Uh, anyway, yeah, that leads to Johnny having another seizure, wakes up from another dream, remember a birthday party.
It's the same
Uh,
dream birthday party thing over and over
yeah,
again. It's the
Jane
same
makes
thing.
a move on him, and they smooch, but J-Bone knocks it off and says, "Time to meet Jones. Jones the
Freaking
cyber
J
dolphin.
Bone.
It's a fish. It's a mammal." Uh, let's see. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about this movie
There's
anymore.
nothing. There's nothing else there. Yeah. Otherwise, the rest of it's action. Surprise. So there's not a whole lot more here to the character.
All right. So like
His
I
whole goal is to get his memory back. That's the starting goal for him, which is not the end result goal. Like there's nothing. That's it. There's nothing there.
so this is going to get my highest rating of the movie, this category,
Oh,
because I just like Keanu Reeves, and I that scene where he has the freak out was so delightful, and it woke me up for this movie that I probably scored it too high, but still, I gave him a 3. I think he's like
ah.
I just find him engaging. I just do. I like Keanu Reeves. I
I
do.
do like Keanu Reeves. I have it tied for highest category, but I don't give anything in this movie that high of a score.
Yeah, I win. You know what? I just
So
there.
I'm
You know what it
shocked you're
is?
already going higher than me. I was not
Here's
expecting that.
here's why I liked Keanu so much in this part. There are aspects to the character that reminded me of Constantine. Like I found Johnny more interesting and fascinating when he's being a selfish prick. Unfortunately,
Sure.
it's not consistent in this movie, but
Right.
there are aspects to it that I really, really enjoyed.
Okay.
And it's just like I don't know. If I was gonna, I especially
It's
just
so
don't want
interesting you
him.
put that out there, but it's like it's hard for me to knock the choice because I think it's another weird movie that I think more and more people are coming around to our side on.
I think everyone's on our side now.
Well, it's taken a while because I feel like we were one of the few people that were like screaming, like, actually, this movie's good.
I think we saw it in theaters together. I don't remember,
I
but
and I dug it like right from the beginning, and it was immediately one of my favorite depictions of the devil that I've like ever seen, and it got like killed and it didn't do well, and I think we've gotten around because now there's more and more talk of sequels, so I'm like, all right, it's like hard for me to completely knock that choice, but I kind of see where you're going with it, but it's
okay.
weird at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I might have like even knocked off a category lower just so I can make Keanu look better. Uh,
I think we've said it though, right? I don't necessarily think it's his fault. I think it's a lot of other things that are at fault, and there are definitely moments where it comes alive, where he's allowed to do a little bit more with the part. And so I went 2 though. I went a whole point lower.
all right.
It's some questionable stuff.
Yeah, well, let's get to my lowest category. Uh,
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah.
We
It's
got a few of them in this movie,
we do.
but let's start
This is
with
another one I have a tie
Shinji,
with, but yeah.
played
Shinji
by
is what we're going with first. Okay, that's what I have second, but okay.
played by Dennis Akiyama.
Do I know
Uh,
this guy before? I forgot to look him up. He looked
you've seen him in
somewhat
stuff.
familiar.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
seen him in stuff.
Okay. I
Uh,
feel like
he,
this is a more prominent role than I probably normally saw him in, though. But
Almost definitely.
yeah.
He accused a captain who has been hired by Pharmacon to retrieve their stolen data, and after it's implanted in Johnny, he's instructed to cut off his head, stick it in a frozen head carrying case, and bring it to headquarters in Switzerland. His weapon of choice is a coke nail that he can pull a laser whip out
What a weapon.
of. What a weapon!
What a weapon. To be honest, like this is what I wanted to give this movie the most points for was this weapon because it's
The coke nail?
so
Just like,
insane.
yeah.
It's so insane. Like this weapon is on coke. Like that's how insane this like he could use it to like break open a door thing, but then he's also just taking off heads. He just
Struggles with a simple wire gate though for some
yes,
reason.
for some reason, but then also just like completely slicing through somebody altogether, like Rafi.
Yeah,
And so it's like it's this and also kills him. He gets killed by his own weapon. So it's like, wow,
does.
this weapon did a lot for this movie. It was so insane. I kind of appreciated it.
Now, uh, oh, I also laughed at the hilariously large collared trench coats the Yakuza are wearing when they attack the hotel in Beijing.
Sadly, it's only in that scene though. It's like
I know,
they
but like
don't last the rest of the
I
movie.
first see them in these giant trench coats with these giant collars. I'm like, wow, they look like Joss Ackland in Bogus Journey. Like, what's going on?
It also gave me more kind of anime vibes. But yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, this movie is obviously heavily
Yes.
influenced.
Yep.
The next villain is Takahashi, the man
Yes.
in. Was that you at first?
That's who I had first. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't exactly understand his he's part of the Yakuza, but he's in a different branch or the American side of the branch, or is he
He's
part
part
of
of
Pharmacom?
Pharmacom. He's part
He's
of
part of
Pharmacom.
Pharmacom.
Yeah, because he's working out of that building that lights on fire randomly at the end of the movie.
Okay. So he's just like, hey, back off Yakuza, like I got it,
You know, you
which
work
is
for me.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't really make a lot of sense considering the computer lady also at one point. Yeah, we'll talk about that one later.
yeah.
The computer lady tells him that Shinji is trying to destroy him and take over. I'm like, but
We
he
never
was,
got
he
any
was a
intimation of
hired
that at
out.
all.
What?
How
They
does a
just shoot him in the back
Yakuza
later.
guy get the head of a Pharmacom? Like none of it
Does
makes any sense.
no.
No.
But his daughter recently died of NAS, and according to the Ghost in the Machine, Anna Coleman, nobody trusts him because of it. He has no purpose in life, but the information in Johnny's head could give him purpose again. She also claims that
Sure.
I already talked about that. And yeah, so it turns out to be true. Shinji does kill Takahashi by shooting him in the back like 6 times.
I mean, I'll give it some kind of credit of trying to give us some sort of a villain that has some kind of has to
Arc,
question things, right? Yeah,
right?
exactly. There's why did we have to make this two separate characters or something? Like it's like neither of them get any much for the screen time to kind of like Shinjin's got like nothing. Like there's
As a
nothing there.
character to play, no, there's nothing there.
He's just I'm a bad guy that's got a cool nail thing. That's it.
Cool.
Like interesting nail thing. How about we'll go
I
with
like that.
that?
I like
Yeah,
interesting better
okay.
than
It's
cool. Yeah.
very interesting nail thing that is just I'm gravitated towards. But the rest of that character is just there's nothing there whatsoever. So at least they give him something.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
like before he
something?
dies, he finds out that Johnny has the cure to NAS in his head. So, like, actually, right before he dies, he gives Johnny the second picture code to help unlock the data from his head and redemption.
Yeah, I guess.
But let's get to the actual fun part of this category. The only fun part of this category.
Golf.
I I knew Dolph Lundgren was in the movie.
I did not. I saw this
I
movie before. I did not realize that was Dolph Lundgren.
I was not prepared.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm watching this movie for a second time, and I get to that character. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, completely don't remember that from the first time I saw it.
Well, I saw his name in the credits, so I was like prepared for him. But like when he finally pops up, I'm like,
I
"Yo,
wasn't paying
what?"
attention then. Yeah,
You're too swept away by the internet in 2021.
I guess
Uh,
so. Or I was like just doing prep stuff. But how much fun and how much are you pissed at this movie for
so angry.
not having fun with this character?
It's like it was embarrassed by him. I'm like,
Yes,
no, that's the best part.
yes,
Go back, let Dolph cook. Dolph is
yes.
cooking in this movie, and he is fun.
Hands down 1,000%.
Only one who knew what kind of movie he was in.
Yes.
Only person in
And
this movie.
there was so much fun to be had there, action wise or anything. And
Oh,
the way he was delivering the lines is like you knew exactly what you were doing.
yeah.
You knew exactly the right cadence, and like he took all his lines seriously, which made it so much better. and the whole like non-believers and like all this kind of stuff that he's like spouting out. It's like, oh my God, this had so much potential. It's
So
such a bummer.
our man Dolph Lundgren here is playing
This is on
Carl.
his way downswing.
Yeah, yeah, we're at the end here.
Yeah.
Uh, he's playing Carl, the street preacher. Carl works out of the Church of Retransfiguration, and my man has a crucifix dagger.
Yes. He's got like a little staff thing, like Moses kind of
Yeah,
staff
he's
thing
got the
too.
shepherd staff too.
Yeah.
And like this, you need someone brought to Jesus or to you.
I love
And
that
he's like,
there's a
and the guy's
video
like, justice.
screen. There's a video screen in his Bible.
Yeah, that's where he keeps it. And Takahashi's like, just his head. And who is this lost soul? He is just hamming it up, and it is so
Yes.
much fun.
It is great. And it's a bummer because he's really not asked to do a whole lot.
No, like he's kind of just they just show clips of him walking around for like the next 2/3 of the movie.
Well, they amp it up to such a point. Like there's at one point it's like, oh no, that's the street preacher. Like I don't want any of that kind of crazy, right? And
Yeah,
then like nothing happens for a little while after
J
that.
Bone says he doesn't have one natural bone left in his body. He'll kill anybody for money to keep his body full of implants.
Right.
We don't
And
actually
then
know what those implants are, what they
never
do.
get any inclination of it. I was actually almost hoping you'd see that after it got lit on fire, although that was kind of cool and gnarly looking, but you don't get any inclination of that. And then like he pops up again, he gets quickly like run over, and that's it.
Yeah, I have that in action. I will talk about how
But
angry
yeah,
that one made me.
I know, but I just want to
Uh,
kind of imitate like that. There's numerous times where he does pop up. It's really quick, and you don't get a whole lot of it.
yeah.
And like
Uh,
even at the end, he kind of goes out quick.
yeah. Well, I especially in
It's a bummer.
Jane is climbing around looking for Johnny and finds Carl, and he says, "Jesus time." Anyway, this category gets a 1.5.
That's what I
The
have it
the
as.
half point goes all to Dolph.
Dolph Lundgren. Yep.
It raises
With
above being terrible.
without a doubt, without a doubt, that's where it goes to. If anything, maybe a point two for, hey, we have a character that's maybe going through something, and the other character and with Takahashi or whatever. But yeah, no, all the enjoyment for villain is Dolph Lundgren, and it's a giant bummer because there's so much potential there.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned, Shinji has a coke nail that can pull a laser whip out of
Yeah.
and uses it to get inside the hotel room Johnny is making his deal in.
Yeah, we're going into action here at this point, right? Yeah.
Yes, we're done. We
I
rated one
wanted
and
to
a half.
announce. Okay.
For villain. Sorry. Uh,
Helps
the
me with
goons
editing.
behind the goons behind Shinji come in guns first and blow away most of the guys.
Yeah.
One guy sticks his arm through an open bathroom door, and Keanu basically gently presses the door closed, and the
Oh
guy goes
no.
filing back.
Oh, my hand.
and then Johnny grabs him and throws him through the shower door.
Does
And
he
he's like,
call him Baldy or something
next
too,
time
lame?
knock, Baldy.
But yeah, it was like, we need another pass on that one. Do you think
Well,
Keanu was like, are we sure about the Baldy line? Like,
see the reason why I'm fine with it is because later on where he gets reunited with Baldy, he gets set up later.
yeah.
It's like, Baldy, you're here. It was like I really loved Keanu in that moment. Like that was really funny.
That's a fair point. Yeah, the
Like
reunion
when
there
he's a
is a lot
sarcastic
funnier.
ass, the character is working for me really well.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, that's where Keanu grabs a towel rack and starts swinging it around. But he realizes pretty fast that the laser coke nail is going to make things difficult, so he says fuck the lemons and bails.
Yeah, he just gets out of there.
And he goes into the stairs, puts on a purple trench coat, a wig, and a newsboy cap and glasses, and slickly walks away. He's also sporting a ton of new makeup, but we're not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna
It
walk right
is
past
a
it.
weird moment, and because they
Why is his
dwell on
skin
it,
brown now? What? Where did that come from?
they needed to either show more of it or not dwell on it as long as they did.
Or
Because
not change his skin tone? That would have been good.
yeah, or I mean, even if you didn't dwell on it for so long, would have been really quick or something, so you didn't notice
Right.
those kind of things or something. It just yeah, it was really like, what the hell? I think they should have showed more more before, just because it would have been more like, oh, this is why he gets paid. this is the kind of stuff he can provide. But no, you don't really get that.
Yeah. So Johnny meets up with the guys Ralphie told him about, and surprise, it's a trap. You can never trust Udo Kier. Never. Big mistake. Johnny, you had that one coming. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, although like again,
oh,
he's like the pseudo not as bad guy for me in Blade. That's kind of where I know him best from, but you know,
if Udo Kier asks you to like hold a bag for him, just run away screaming.
probably.
That guy's always up to no good.
We'll talk about it in side characters, but yeah.
Yeah. So one of the guys there is Baldy from Beijing, and Johnny takes both guys out with ease. Really should have sent more than two guys. I mean,
Yeah.
if this is so important. None of
Yeah.
the action is good or interesting, but Johnny runs into J Bone, played by Ice T, who had been observing him, and I don't know, seeing someone use a knife slingshot was kind of fun. That was something.
Sure. We'll go with that. There's nothing here. There's an explosion. There was one little small explosion.
I didn't even bother mentioning that. I was already done moving on to the next thing.
That I mean, I'm just saying. There
It's
was one little thing that was like I like the things to explode. But it was weak, and that was about it. And let's move on because that was like nothing.
so so yeah. So Johnny, I just wanted to mention the knife slingshot.
Yeah, I get it.
Also, I
You
was
need
trying
to
to.
find stuff here.
Yep. So Johnny comes to after getting knocked out by Udo Kier. Can't trust him. And Shinji appears and tells Johnny about his plan to cut off his head. Johnny is understandably upset, especially with Ralphie. But Ralphie's like, "Forget it, Johnny. It's the Yakuza. Nothing he can do." And that's where Jane pops in. This is her
Yeah,
moment to get her revenge on Ralphie for rejecting her.
yeah.
And she knocks out Shinji by the air duct vent um, front. And Ralphie tries offering her $20,000 to walk away, but Johnny offers her 50, and she frees him, and they get away. Shinji is
Did you
very
notice like
angry.
she's got like a like so she, like so the grate hits into one and knocks him out,
Yeah,
knocks one of them out, right? And
Shinji.
then right gets the offer and she what is it, 50 instead, 50,000 or whatever,
Johnny offers 50, and
50K.
she takes 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then she's got like this collapsible like baton thing that looks like a fire poker. It looks terrible. It looks
don't
so bad.
I
And
don't
that's how she
remember it.
takes out the rest, or the other two or whatever. And and then goes to town on and like where at one point Johnny's kind of like, okay, like let's go now. Like, because she just keeps beating on this other person, but it's just like, I don't know. This baton thing is like, man, this looks bad.
Um, yeah. So Shinji is annoyed and takes his anger out on Ralphie by laser whipping him to death. It's weird
Yeah.
that he can slice through the doors and flesh and bone with no problem, but Shinji can't get past a simple wire gate.
There's some kind of weird limitations to this thing.
It's like a wire gate. That's it.
It makes no sense because otherwise it can go through everything. And it doesn't. So we're assuming the hotel door was just straight wood, so wood's fine. Some metals are problematic, but bone, like,
Bone's pretty strong.
yeah, like it's just weird.
Yeah, right.
It was weird, a weird moment for Rafi's like in that moment, he literally gets like lasered where like he should have a Darth Maul death basically, and he just kind of goes, oh. That's it. That's the only reaction to it. It's like, oh my God. There should have been no reaction or like even more over the top. Like it had to be either or. Like it was such a weird moment.
I don't know. Can't hard to be over the top when you've literally sliced a third of your body off, but
Right.
whatever.
Bizarre.
So Johnny and Jane break into a computer store and he sets himself up with a VR rig. Goes
Right.
online in some truly heinous and hilarious virtual reality effects, and he hacks into the
The
Hotel
the
Beijing.
best part is just seeing Keanu have to do this kind of stuff with his little headset thing. Like it's so dumb.
Yeah. Uh yeah. So through virtual reality, he has gone through internet and virtual reality. He hacks into a hotel to look at fax records.
Yeah.
To try to find the picture key his handlers tried to fax over, all he can come up with is the name Dr. Alcom. The virus attack is, man, this is where I say, yeah, nobody knew shit about computers in the 90s, did they?
Nope.
And then the lady in the computer shows up to warn Johnny to move. They're coming, and Jane tosses her pink grenade before leaving and blows up the Yakuza strike team who's about to enter.
I was really hoping that pink grenade was gonna be cooler. They set it up earlier, like, oh, pink grenade on a keychain. Of all else, like,
The explosion should have been a different color.
oh man, what a it was like a scene as like really set up to be like, oh no, like some they're coming and like, oh, this should be ramped up as like an action moment. It is not.
Yeah.
It's a giant letdown.
Well, speaking of giant letdowns, let's get into Carl the street preacher. He catches up with the bartender at Ralphie's bar and forces his robotic hand into one of the deep freeze head carriers and then smashes his hand. Looks like there were still some organics in there.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of at first. I was like, wait a minute, what? And
Uh,
then you kind of see some red, and oh, it was like, oh, okay, so it wasn't full on. Okay,
right. And that's when the bartender gives up Jane and Spider, which should surely lead to an exciting confrontation later.
nope,
No.
nope,
Spider agrees to drive Johnny and Jane in his ridiculous looking truck. Carl appears out of nowhere, standing in front of the truck and yells, "Halt, sinners!"
yep. I was just thinking, thank you,
And
but
Spider just runs him over. And
yeah,
after they've gone
who's
away,
that?
and after they're gone away, Carl just gets up and he seems fine.
Yeah, but and again, like, who's that guy? Like, you don't. He's crazy. You don't need to know him. And move on. That's it. Okay. And then he comes back again, right? Like he invades the clinic or
Charity
whatever,
hospital,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
spider's clinic, right? And he does get to nail one, and then we cut away before anything else can happen, and there's nothing really cool there that happens with him either.
Well, first, yeah. In the clinic, he announces himself by shoving his cross through a body and shoving the gurney, the bodies, into the room that Johnny and Spider and Jane are in. And love that crucifix dagger. The cure is mine. And honestly, this is the part that's most confounding. Johnny, Jane, and Spider seem to have him handled. Like he seems to be in trouble. But then
Yeah.
Spider like jumps on Carl's back, tells him to run away, and that only Jones can save them. It's like I think they could have just like given this a couple more seconds. Like Carl was not doing well in that fight at that moment.
Maybe they're like, there's no way we last any longer. We just got the jump. Like we're gonna, I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. It was stupid. It was lame.
And Carl throws Spider on a gurney and asks him a very fair question: "Who is Jones?" And Spider says he's the guy who fucks your mother. And then Carl stigmatas Spider and then asks, "Where are they?"
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, man.
That's about it. I guess he must have divulged because Spider does, or not Spider, sorry.
Carl does appear again. Yeah,
Yeah. So
Jesus time. Uh, so let's get to the most exciting action beat in the movie. A couple of low tech dudes are hanging out in the rafters underneath a broken bridge, which is where the low tech base called Heaven is.
then there's some like stoners.
Yeah, one of them is like annoyed by the racket Johnny is making to get their attention. So he decides to drop like a VW bug bomb on Spider's van for laughs. And the bug blows up in midair and drops on Spider's truck, and it is an impressive explosion.
Yeah. Actually, I think there's two different car bomb drops that ends up happening that are both actually some of the
Right,
nicer
but
explosions in the
that one's
movie.
good because it explodes and then falls on another, and then it also explodes again, like right back to back. It's like that's
Yeah.
cool. We get another VW bug bomb later too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was fun. That was an exciting beat.
Yeah, that's about it. Yep.
So the Yakuza arrive at the base, geared for war, and start grappling up. Takahashi is also there observing from his helicopter. Shinji takes one
Yeah.
guy's head off with his laser whip and kills another with a throwing knife. And that guy accidentally lets slip another car bomb down below, which kills a Yakuza. Nice explosion.
Yeah, there's some rocket launcher stuff too,
Yeah,
isn't there?
the
Yeah.
Yakuza retaliate with bazooka fire, which causes Johnny to unhook from Jones and damage the equipment.
Yeah.
Uh, J-Bone kills the Yakuza bazooka lady with a crossbow, bolt through the mouth. That was kind of
Yeah,
cool
that's a
looking.
weapon of choice for most of low tech. They all have a lot of crossbows because they are supposed to be lower
Low
tech.
tech. I gotta tell you though,
Not no
guess
tech,
what?
just low tech.
Guns not exactly high tech. Had them in the
Yeah,
old west.
sure.
Had them in like what century?
And they're
They've
surprisingly
been around.
accurate with those crossbows.
Yeah,
And pretty lethal because like when they take the rocket launcher lady out, you're especially
that distance. Yeah,
from Ice-T, I forget his character's name again. But anyway,
J-Bone,
from the distance he does, yeah, J-Bone, you're like, wow, all right,
strong
go you.
crossbow.
Yeah. Dang, man. I
Uh,
haven't seen this much like effective crossbow stuff since Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
nice. So then you get to after Takahashi learns the truth about the info in Johnny's head, he gets shot in the back like 6 times.
Yep.
And Shinji and his goon is there, and they have also grabbed Jane. Shinji said, "Let's make this clean. Lift your chin." And whips out his laser whip from his coke nail. And Jane frees herself, and Shinji chases after Johnny. Johnny and Shinji end up falling through a weak wooden bridge and fall a bunch of times and eventually into a shipping container that has now gone from horizontal to vertical.
Right.
And they're both hanging from a cargo net. Make you think of gym class, Tim, climbing the cargo net? I was like, oh, cargo net. Haven't
I
done that in
didn't
a
do
long
a whole
time.
lot of cargo net. To be honest, it was more of the traditional rope. I didn't do a whole lot of cargo net.
Oh, we had the cargo net. We never had the rope.
Really?
I
That's
think
weird.
we
We went to the
pulled.
same schools, man.
I don't know, tell you. I didn't. The cargo net was only in middle school, and
See, the rope, the traditional rope, I only got that in middle school.
yeah, no, there was a rope too, but there was also the cargo
I
net.
never got the cargo net. There was
That's
there was
weird.
a climbing wall, but there wasn't a cargo
Right, there
net.
was also that too. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. I guess they
Uh,
did some changes in between you and me.
yeah, they cut down the net, I guess.
It was like a
Uh,
2 year gap there, so shit happens.
anyway, Johnny reaches for Shinji's coke nail and pulls the laser whip and cuts off Shinji's head, which falls along with his body to the water
It's
below.
such a weird moment, right? Like so they're both struggling and like hanging. And all of a sudden you have this shot of Keanu being like, "Oh, coke nail," and then like
I love that I
she's
got you
like,
saying it.
"Oh no, he sees my coke nail," and then there's like this weird struggle, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go for the nail." I'm like, "Oh no, you like it's so insane," and then like for some odd reason he can expertly use this thing as well. Like it's like the logistics of how to use that thing is insane
No,
to me.
no. You will hurt yourself if you try to think about the
Right?
physics of the coke nail.
Like, this is worse than a lightsaber. Like
Oh, way worse.
it's way worse
What's
than a
the power
lightsaber.
source in this thing? It's
Yeah.
this big.
And it can slice through everything, but it has problems with metal, I guess. I don't know. But like he somehow can do it and then lasso it to do his neck in like ease. And you're like, sure. Okay. But to be
Uh,
honest, it's the coolest thing you're gonna see action-wise this whole movie
I
is
I
when
think
that thing comes out.
I think it was the VW bug explosion was more impressive. But yeah, I
That's
hear you.
fair.
It's you know what? It's the best effects work they do in the movie. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Because like
the
every time they try because so I think the biggest thing that we're not letting on here, right, is like this should be the big epic end of this movie,
yeah, it
right?
should.
This is the action sequence of the movie. But no, it's not. We have more movie to go. And now we have to go back into the internet, which is where the final
I'm
action
not even.
sequence is going to be. And it includes like
I'm not.
freaking Echo the Dolphin from Sega coming in to save the day at one point. You're like, oh
Well,
my
well,
god.
that was just Jones. It's not
No,
fair.
but I know, but you know what?
I like the reference.
Thank you.
All
Only
right,
millennials will understand.
elder ones.
That's
Uh,
fair.
so Johnny catches up to Jane and Carl, who is just halfway to crucifying her with her own large nails that she carries as weapons, like
Yeah.
9-inch nails or something like that.
Yeah, like
Uh,
railroad spikes, basically.
a little thinner than that, but yeah, I hear
They
you.
are. They are.
Uh,
They're legitly nails, but
they're like coffin. Yeah.
they're just very large.
Johnny tackles Carl. Come to Jesus. Dolph is literally dressed like Jesus at this point. He's got
Yeah.
like this red toga, like on one shoulder, and he's carrying around the shepherd's cane. And he says to
I swear,
Johnny, "He's made you the vessel of his mercy, as I am the vessel of his death, of his wrath." Which I'm like, yeah, Dolph.
I almost feel like there needs to be like a Goodwill Hunting moment with Keanu and Dolph Lundgren, where it's like it's not your fault.
I'm
It's,
going to say that to each other.
yeah, or just this movie in general. Someone needs to go to both of them and say like,
I think
you
they're both fine.
both were doing the best you could.
If anyone needs a hug, it's the director. um,
Eh, it was your fault. It was your fault.
so then Jane hooks up with Jones's satellites and aims it at Carl. Still not clear what these satellites do as a defense. Uh,
I don't know. They make some
what's
rippley looks, I guess. I
yeah?
don't understand.
It looks
Maybe
like cartoon Magneto effects.
it's supposed
Uh,
to be messing with people's tech that they
Implants, I
have
thought
in them,
maybe.
maybe.
Yeah. Dolph's like, what spawn of Satan?
Yeah. But I wasn't
Yeah,
sure if it was because of what was happening to him or because he saw the dolphin.
that's a great question.
I'm really not positive.
More explosions cause the satellite not to work again, but then Johnny sees some live wires that he pushes at Carl, which fry him to a crisp.
Yeah. Burn him alive, which actually was an all right effect, actually. I actually kind of liked how he went up.
Yeah.
And then the look of him. Like I
Well,
actually I'll give it some credit there.
I really enjoyed the fake out with Carl possibly coming back to life there at the end too.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. We're
I was
taking
like,
out the garbage.
that was cool.
Yeah.
As Tim mentioned, I literally whispered, "Oh no," when we see the virtual reality avatar of Johnny. I was like, "Oh no."
What's sad is like we saw some better versions of this type of stuff in like earlier movies.
I literally wrote down this was less visually exciting than any of the VR stuff in Lawnmower Man.
And that's 92. This is 95.
Take a bow, Brett Leonard. You're off the hook. You are the king of virtual reality in the 90s.
Well, I don't know about King's strong, but
King.
not the worst, right? Like this
Nah.
was pretty freaking bad.
Lawnmower Man and virtuality gives him king status.
Virtuosity, yeah. And
Virtuosity, sorry.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'll also throw out hackers, but
That wasn't him. All right.
there was no virtual people per se as much in that one.
Thank God. Um, yeah, I gave this a 2 for the VW bus explosion.
You're going so higher than me. I'm shocked.
Hi. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
That brings us
here,
down to a
man.
1.
Yeah, I got it at 1.5.
All right, I'll break down to 1.5. I don't care.
I'm at a 2 for hero, 1.5 for villain, 1.5 for action.
All right.
Yeah, like I mean this is pretty rough stuff. Like I don't see much action if we're going on action. Like what was like other than like the laser wire stuff? I just was like, this is fascinating. It's nuts, but this is fascinating, right? Other than that, like a lot of it is like there could have been something cool here. Maybe 2 explosions were nice. That's about it.
I rated too high on the explosion. You're right. I'm glad you pulled me back.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah. Supporting characters.
This is where I go a little higher.
So you got Jane, played by Dina Meyer, is an augmented bodyguard that is
Yeah,
looking for a chance to make the big time when she hooks up with Johnny. Johnny offers her 50 grand for her help, and it gives her the bonus satisfaction of screwing over Ralphie, who rejected her resume. We
because she
eventually
had an AS, man. How do you reject somebody with a disease?
That's right.
Put out your hand. I wish I could do it justice. I wish I could. I can't.
You did better than I did. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's like this feminine but like graveliness to it
He's terrifying.
It's so good.
Udo Kier is terrifying.
I love listening to him. Like
I do too, but he's scary.
oh gosh, especially everything in Blade too. I love. It's hard to bring back Blade, but where he's like Frost. Like I love every time he does it. Like I just love it.
Yeah,
And
no, I love him.
he is going everything he's doing in this movie makes like he's over the top. It's nuts. A lot of his thing, like, is he the agent? I think he's supposed to be bookwise the agent, but it's like it's really weird in this movie and not well explained. His motives are not well explained, other than like you just don't mess over the yakuza. Um, but man, is he still fun? Like he's still delivering some fun lines.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
the
it's
what's
not in
it?
the
Our
movie this
villain
much, so
almost kills him, and he's like, "You almost killed me," and it goes like so over the top of that. I'm like, I love it.
okay. I didn't even get to finish Jane. Tim was too excited to talk about Udo Kier. He had to like.
Sorry, he's fun. He's fun, man.
He is the reason this category is probably ranked as high as it is for
It
me.
goes off way too slow, but yeah, I actually do like Dina Meyer's great. She's not given a lot to do here. I mean her as an actress. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't necessarily mean this movie. My bad.
Okay.
Pardon
Thank
me.
you. All right.
Take that back. Like I just,
I'm with you now.
you know what I mean? Like it's hard to, as much as it's a crappy character, and not much here that especially like makes sense. Um, but like it's hard to dislike her. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to dislike what she's playing because she's so charismatic.
Yeah,
It's kind of the
no.
same thing. Like that's why I think I go a little bit higher in side characters, because there's so many like side characters that kind of elevate this a little bit more because they're so enjoyable for who they are that it's hard to dislike.
There are some good performers in this movie, but every character is written so I don't
Poorly.
think paper thin doesn't even begin to
Very
describe
poorly.
it. So
Yeah.
it's a so I really just could not reward it too
Right.
highly, but I hear you.
Yeah. She's got NAS.
Yep. Her
She's
only chance
been
of survival is retrieve the
modified by
Johnny Spider.
Spider. We have
Right.
no idea why. We don't know any of the relationship with her Spider at all. Like there's just nothing there fleshed out. There's just nothing.
Mm-mm.
Um, she's in it for the money. Apparently, she ran with the low techs for a little while, and that's all we know. Like
Don't know why she stopped. Don't know what happened there. They all seem to be
yeah,
friendly.
yeah. They're able to help her out, I guess, but it's so shallow. It's nuts how shallow it is, especially with her turn to all of a sudden being romantically interested in Johnny.
Yeah.
He goes off on $10,000 a night hookers, and she's like, oh, like all of a sudden she's into it, and I'm like, they clearly didn't like each other at all before that moment, and so I it's like, oh, he's human after all because he likes hookers so much. I don't get it. It's really bad. It's really poorly written, but at the same time, she's not like she's a pretty good actress who's likable, so it's like hard.
I'm a fan of her, so yeah.
Yeah.
You got the black shakes. Let's see. You got Ice T here is playing J Bone, the leader of the
Yeah.
Low Techs in the free city of Newark, New Jersey. Snatch back your brain, homie. Switch it back and hold it.
I can't say that he's a good actor, but
He
he's
is who
good
he
at
is.
doing him. He's good at doing
Yeah.
this caricature of sorts. It's not like cringeworthy, if that makes, it's weird because like I say he's not a good actor, but it's not cringeworthy either.
No,
Like
I don't know if
it's
I've ever been cringed at Ice T.
never
But
cringe. Like he is this, like he owns it. It's not like you can be like, that's
he's
so
real.
fake. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. I think that's the right way to put it. He's real. It's never like, oh, that came off terrible. Like it comes off, and his look
You want to talk about the
with the
snowboarding
weird
goggles?
drawing tattoo things, the crazy hair, the whole look
The
that he's got going on.
snowboarding goggles.
Yeah,
Why are you wearing those on your head?
it is nuts.
What's going on?
I don't know if anybody will notice, but the artwork I'll use in the middle that we always use between you two is gonna be featuring a few of our characters, and it has to feature him because his look is nuts in this movie. I can't help but not include him.
Uh, Somehow my man is always within range of anything happening in Newark, New Jersey, or in New York City. He's just kind of always like, no, that's not
He's
fair. I think he
around,
most
man.
stays in Newark. Just Newark apparently now has a
We're in
fair view of
free
New York.
Newark, Patrick. We're in free.
Free
It's the
Newark.
free
That's correct.
city in Newark.
Uh, I nearly died laughing when J-Bone broadcast to the world in the year 2021 that everyone needs to get their VCRs ready because they're about to share the cure of NAS with everyone.
It's
I had to rewind and check. I'm like, did he? Oh no.
I didn't have to rewind it. I took that note immediately. I was like, "Oh my God." It's great how dated things can become. Wow.
Yeah. Still so impressive he was able to lead the revolution with nothing but like crossbows. He was able to defeat out machine gun toting yakuzas with
And
crossbows.
especially like all the like tube TVs that are everywhere. Like
Yeah.
no one can see past tube T like these giant tube TVs, like the Zenith style, like old school 90s like tube TVs with a giant like they have like a giant cylinder in their base of just these like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
tube TVs that somehow or other, I guess, side characters gonna come out of nowhere from. But anyway.
So you got Henry Rollins is here playing Spider, an unlicensed doctor who provides robotic implant upgrades
Woo!
for cash on the side while running an NAS clinic.
What a it's crazy how where he came from to what he turned himself into.
I,
Like he started popping up in movies and acting, and he started popping up on like shows, like not even like fictional shows, like just like shows in general. Like he became such a caricature almost of himself. It's insane where he started to where he came. Like it's crazy
yeah,
to me.
Henry Rollins has got a great story, no doubt about it. And
Yeah,
he's always engaging. He's got a
yeah.
presence.
But
Uh,
and it's crazy to me that he's always basically Henry Rollins. Like when he
I don't
starts
know.
going off, it's just technology, man. He starts going off on him. I'm like, why NAS is a thing? It's
Technological
like,
fucking civilization.
yeah, it was like, wow, this is so Henry Rollins. Like this scene was written for
Well,
him.
like the first thing I remember seeing him though was in like in the chase. He was playing one of the cops, which is a fun joke. And
Yes,
then
but he's still doing this like
he's
intensity
intense. Yeah.
kind
Well,
of
he's just
like
yeah, he's Henry Rollins.
I'm gonna
But you know what
like tell
though?
you how it is
What about in
thing.
Feast?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good in Feast. Like
I,
different
but
different character.
to be fair to what you're saying with Feast, right? It's yeah, as you were just yeah, very different character. Like he's a little
Yeah.
not the norm of Henry Allen, which is why that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So after Johnny brings Jane to Spider to help with their NAS induced black shakes, uh Spider pumps Jane full
it's
of muscle relaxants and tells Johnny that NAS comes from information overload. All electronics around you poison the airwaves.
yeah, but it's so weird too when you first meet him. Like he's so like, oh geez, like let me push up my glasses.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's like it's and then he completely changes when Keanu shows up basically in a shop. He turns into more Henry Rollins. But like the whole like beginning part where you see him, he's like, Poindexter. Like it's like a weird shift. And then again he shifts to this like, actually, I'm a real doctor and I head this entire operation of do-goodery, and
Do
I'm
goodery.
the one who actually
He is
wanted this whole thing to begin with.
yeah, he is
But
Dr. Alcom. Alcom.
yeah,
The
but
facts
let me
Kiko
kill you.
well. The facts with the Kiko was meant for him. The alias is just a name used by hospitals to let doctors know that there's an emergency without spooking patients. Um, he's reasonable. You know,
Yeah,
I, he was good. Uh, probably one of the more no, well, yeah, no.
it's just really uneven. It's just there. I think it's another example of there was something here that
hmm
would have been interesting. It's just it never went to anywhere interesting.
Yeah. All right. Last and least, the woman in the computer. The ghost in the machine is actually Anna Kallman, the founder of Pharmacon, who died 6 years ago.
Yeah.
She was imprinted to Pharmacom's neural net installation in Zurich prior to onset morbidity. Her neural net persona has Swiss citizenship under the artificial intelligence laws of 2006. She advises the current board from the state of being.
But they got to remove her, which they eventually do
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the end of the movie.
Well, she's unhappy with the dirty and unethical positions her company has taken and was one of the ones who leaked the cure out. Eventually, the company figures out what happened and delete her from the mainframe at the end of the movie. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
rude.
But she's like the one that's like trying to egg Johnny along. She's the one that like brings some Takashi or whatever's doubt, right,
Right.
to turn or whatever. It's really weird. They have to have this one throwaway scene of explaining her position on who she is, because otherwise this movie would have been really like, what? Because it really is like out of nowhere a lot of times.
Yeah. I gave it a two.
That's where I went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which again is higher for me for where I was in previous categories. So it was side characters and hero where I went the highest.
So I gave it an eight overall.
Yeah, well, I think you still ended up going
Higher.
higher just to make
Which,
sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, my mouse stopped working. Yeah, I went seven.
yeah. Well, we're both above top dog and below everything else.
Um, yeah, you say you went eight?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are below Congo but above Top Dog.
Which she will be too. No. I'm sorry. You're
No.
saying this is better than Congo.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Hell with you.
That's
The
ooh,
diamonds.
you're you're right.
All
I'd much rather watch. All right, you know what? I don't even care. I'm not putting a score. I'm changing that.
You can just bump Congo up if you want.
Figure out score later.
All right.
I don't I agree with you. Like I don't there's way more redeeming. Congo's bad action wise too. They're
Yep.
both very bad action movies. Character wise, I think there's so much more fun with lines and line delivery and
Yeah.
Congo that you have to go Congo over Johnny Mnemonic. I agree with that. I think probably my hang up is there are some there's actually some potential here for Johnny Mnemonic being a
I
really interesting
mean,
movie.
there's potential for Congo. That was all failed, but
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I mean you might be right. Maybe I'm hung up on like, gosh, this really could have been a really cool movie with Dolph Lundgren um, as this character, and there's like some good actors. Though you're right, Congo had some good Congo's filled with great actors, so you're not wrong. So that's a hard one. But I think this one's supposed to be more of an action movie, and Congo's kind of almost not. Or maybe better paced. It's a better paced movie, Congo. It moves a lot better than
mm-hmm.
Johnny Mnemonic, where you're like, this slogs.
Yep. There's a lot of expedition. Can't say the word. There's a lot of info dumps in this movie.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll shift with you.
All right. So, ready to play America's favorite game?
Body mass alone.
Body mass alone.
I don't want to have conversations anymore about dudes' physiques.
Dennis,
And whether they can.
body mass alone.
That's what I was trying to avoid. A conversation about body mass.
Okay.
So we get
Not
a
much.
shirtless Keanu early on, but he's not in any kind of special shape. Uh,
No, yeah, not yet. No, we're although he's never been like a particularly jacked dude. Not that he's ever been in bad shape, but he's
right.
never really been a muscular dude. So
Nah. And yet, Dina Meyer shows some skin, but none of the fun parts.
you get some
Dolph,
side boob,
yep. Dolph Lundgren provides all the beef in this movie, and my
but
dude looks impressively huge. But
but
the
he's
toga,
clothed. He's
yeah,
pretty clothed. He's
yeah.
mostly clothed. The
It's
least you
just the
see him
toga where
clothed
he's
is
got
when he's
like the one
lit up on
shoulder.
fire.
Right. Well, when they get the togas and they've got one shoulder popping out,
I
showing some skin. But
guess, sure.
he's huge.
He's a
So,
bigger guy for sure.
but yeah, I only gave it a four because of like large Dolph. But you're not getting a high score.
Oh, I went one.
One? No.
Yeah, what is there here?
Wow. Even for
Because
Dina
side
Martinez?
boob? Are
Yeah.
we okay? So we're totally giving points for some hotness. We're not going full on like muscle mass alone. We're
I'm mostly getting for the muscle mass. It just gives a little extra nudge
for
for
a shoulder. We're get okay.
he's a big guy. You don't need to be shirtless to be a big guy. He was huge. Dolph Lundgren, big dude.
All
All
right, I'll split the difference. You said
right.
four, right?
Yeah, I gave it four.
I'll go two.
Okay. So what's miscellaneous stuff I have here?
Yeah, go. Yeah, do tell.
After Johnny is on the elevator in the beginning of the movie, there was a cut to the Beijing cityscape,
Yeah.
and holy shit, I think they made one of the cheapest miniature sets I've ever seen in my life. It looks like Team America World Police quality.
America.
Fuck yeah. It was just terrible. I was like, what? I had to pause on that one for a
You know
minute.
what's great is when they start to do the later America song and they go with the slow-mo version, like the soft version, and they go, fuck yeah. And they
Yeah.
it's a really underrated great movie.
The director tried some flourishes at one point in this movie after Johnny lands via the Concorde jet in Newark. Uh, he just starts to throw like a bunch of Dutch angles, let you know you're in New Jersey, like Jersey, Jersey. Like, okay. Um, and we
No,
never
he
get
just
anything.
throws his ID away.
He never does anything like that ever again in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, that was fun. This movie was shot in everyone's fake New York, Toronto. The
Yep.
charity hospital that's supposed to be Grand Central Station is Toronto's Union Station. Val Kilmer was originally set to star, but dropped out to do Batman Forever.
Good move.
Christopher Lambert was also a possibility. We almost had four Lamberts, Tim.
Wow. What did you do one of our other movies instead?
I guess. I don't know.
Ah,
Maybe he was just like having too much fun.
because
And
if he did The Hunted instead of this movie, good move.
sure.
The Hunted is a better movie.
Also, Mortal Kombat.
Yes, both by our rankings, better movie.
Also, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and say on to three preemptively. I haven't seen the movie in years, but yeah, I feel good about that prediction
Of what? High Under Three?
being better than this movie.
I have not touched that movie. I'm scared. I'm not picking it. Just like you're gonna have to force me into it. Like I'm
I will. I
scared.
will. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
I got to wait a couple movies first. We got to get to the next cycle before we get to
Yeah,
another Lambert
fair
cycle.
enough. Fair enough.
So Bono was in talks to supervise the soundtrack and possibly play Carl the Street Preacher, which also would have been amazing.
I'm happy we didn't go that route, to be honest. In a certain setup and environment, maybe that would have been really funny, but that might have been depressing in this version.
Pardon me, Mr. Johnny Mnemonic. I have a message from God.
uh,
All right. So this movie had a budget of $26 million, which is a little over $54 million today, and the worldwide gross of a little over 19 million, which is a little under 39.5 million today.
oof.
It debuted at number 6 in its first weekend of release. Number 1 was Casper, also in its first weekend of release.
Austin Casper.
Other debuts that week, Braveheart came in at number 3,
Wow. Debuted.
debut weekend.
So Casper,
Casper beat Braveheart.
that's gotta be rough. That
Casper
won
beat
Oscars.
Sure did. Casper beat Braveheart, Johnny Mnemonic, Mad Love. Do you remember Mad Love? That was like Chris O'Donnell and Drew Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
And this one really hurts my feelings because it should have won the weekend, in my opinion. Tales from the Hood came in at 9th.
I wonder why you'd say that.
I like that movie.
I know you do. I know you do. No,
You know,
those are
Greer.
actually some really good movies that it went up against. So I'm
Yeah.
not completely surprised that it went six. Um,
It was this was like one of the historic like worst weekends in Hollywood history.
really.
I think this past year was like they're like, oh my God, we just had the worst weekend since like 95 Memorial Day weekend or whatever. It's like, wow.
It was a Memorial Day weekend release.
Yep. Yep. And Casper won. Memorial Day weekend. What were they doing putting that out on
I was
Memorial Day
shocked
weekend?
because when you said Casper, immediately I'm thinking this has got to be like an August or something kind of release,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah,
usually the Halloweenish things start coming out in August, right? And
exactly.
like it was funny, like a coworker brought up recently, like a Christmas movie. Oh, well, that's got to come out in December. I'm like, no, Christmas movies don't come out in December. Are you kidding me? They're like, what are you talking about? I was like, what money are you making off of coming out with a movie in December if that's Christmas themed? That doesn't give you much money to make. Like, who's watching Christmas movies in January and February? That's not happening.
Nope.
And they were like, oh, well, I didn't think about that. Like, all right, well, I guess this is why I do this kind of stuff. But sure, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So it's weird. That through like Casper in
Hey,
May.
made bank.
I mean, I saw that movie. I did. I was a kid. I mean, I had a thing for the female lead. So yeah.
Is it Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, still do. All
Yep.
right. So, you ready for next week?
Yeah, man. It's your pick.
So, I thought
Uh-oh.
long and hard about this.
I don't know. I don't like where this is going already.
And I thought after watching this piece of crap, Johnny
You
Mnemonic,
need to pick me up.
that was my initial thought. Yeah.
Oh, initial thought. Oh.
Then I thought, wait a minute. What if I head into dark territory and this is the best chance I'll ever end up liking this movie? What if I get my Eric Bogosian on and I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let us all suffer with some Under Siege 2 Dark Territory.
I am shocked.
You
I
know
thought
what?
this is something I was gonna have to throw out. That's shocking.
No way is it worse than Johnny Mnemonic. So it's like, this is still going to be a pick me up no matter what. This will be the nicest I could possibly be to this movie after coming out of that.
I think I think you got some good reads here, I think. First off, I want to say this is one of my earliest memories of my life of coming out of a movie theater of Patrick not being happy. Um and being very upset. Um although also being mocked for all the knife stuff that he was not a fan of. At least again, this is 95 when we were young when this coming out. So I remember being very uh interested in that. We'll split that. Interested. Um but I'm curious to revisit definitely for the villain in this movie
Yeah, Eric Bogosian. Yeah.
is so nutty. It's so nutty, and I'm wondering if I'm gonna really because I haven't revisited this movie in God knows how long. Um,
Yeah.
we did own the VHS, and
Much like everything.
I probably might have been the only one that revisited it. Um, so it's been a real freaking long time since that's happened. So I kind of have a memory of him being fun,
Yeah. Well, it's
which is easily be overshadowed by Tommy Lee Jones in one. So
sure.
it's easy to forget.
Well, the thing is, I just watched him last month. I watched Interview with the Vampire Show.
Oh, right. You've been telling me how good it is.
Yes, yes, it's very good, very gay, and very good.
Cool. Yeah, whatever.
No, it's. I think of that Norm Macdonald joke from SNL all the time. Where he
Yeah.
reviews the original movie. So, and here's my review for Interview with the Vampire. Not gay enough. It's just delivery was so fucking great.
That's
I
fair.
think about it all the time, and then I'm watching this show, and I'm like, gay enough.
Yeah, reach the
But
mark.
it's so good. It really is a
Yeah.
fantastic. Anyway, he's in it. He's playing the Christian Slater part from the movie,
Okay.
and he's a lot of fun. So I'm like, yeah, I do generally like this actor quite a bit, Eric Bogosian. So like, I want this gonna be a lot of fun. At the
Yeah,
very least, I'll have that performance.
I think the unfair thing probably for this movie is trying to compare it to the first one.
Well, you did call it Under Siege 2, and you're playing the same character. I'm gonna have
You're
to compare it
right.
to the first
You're
one.
completely right. But man, if it didn't have that baggage, this I don't know. Again, it has been years, and I was very young. This is the last time I watched it, but I have the feeling, at least the impression going in before this, that I feel like if it didn't have that baggage, maybe it would be considered better. So I'm curious to revisit myself because it has been a super long time.
Okay. You got anything else?
That's it for me, man. I got it.
All right. And that is it for us. Please show us your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of Film Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
I need a computer. Still can't do it right.